We are 3 days away from 2023, so we're going to talk about all things goal setting. Welcome back to First Gen Money, a YouTube channel for all things money and lifestyle from a first gen millennial's perspective. And if you've been around here for a while, you know that I love setting goals for the year ahead. I love giving myself things to work towards. I like to learn and grow. I wanted to, of course, make a video on setting up goals for 2023. Here's the thing. In the past, I have set goals, a lot of them, to accomplish within 1 year. Goals without considering the year before or reflecting on the things that didn't go so well and what things I wanted to, continue on for the new year. I created goals to create goals and to basically have something to check off at the end of the year. I've also set goals in the past that were more focused on what I thought I should be doing, what I thought somebody at my age would have already accomplished at that age, or because I felt like there was pressure from people around me to have achieved X, Y, and Z. One of those goals being saving money for a down payment. It was on my list in 2019, on my New Year's resolutions in 2020, and I just never achieved it. And instead of reflecting back those 2 years when they were on the list in a row, I kept adding it there because I figured I need to buy a house. That's just where I am in the stage of my life. I wasn't really thinking about what I wanted. So I have been approaching setting goals differently. I want to focus more on my why. What is the goal doing for me and not what it's doing for the perception of myself. I've actually started reading this book, Toxic Positivity by Whitney Goodman. Immediately, I'm reading this book and I'm thinking about how in my past, in my own journey towards reaching financial independence or reaching whatever goal that I had set in place, I had been working and doing that from a toxic positivity mindset where I am doing it because I think that there is something that I need to change about myself, or not coming from a place where I'm loving myself first and instead doing something to change myself. And it essentially is what it is. Also in this book, what Whitney talks about is a lot of the ways in which we believe that through simply manifestation and no action, things can happen. And with our minds, we'll be able to achieve the goals that we set in place for ourselves. But the reality is, and I'm sure you all know, if we don't set action items to those goals and we just manifest it or write it in our journal and don't take action towards those goals, it's not going to go anywhere. We can't just sit and expect things to come to us without making the movements daily to get to that place. And so it's not to say that manifestation doesn't work, but manifestation alone is not what gets you there. It's the action that you put towards those goals and things that you want to achieve that get you in the place to receive that manifestation when you're ready. I just feel around the new year, everybody is this is your time. Everything that happened to you for a reason. And there's a lot of that language. So I want to make sure that this video acknowledges that toxic positivity is not the approach that I'm trying to take in the new year. I want to be able to, for myself, create goals that are going to, yes, help me grow and become a better person, but not because I hate who I am right now and I'm trying to change the person that I hate. We're gonna start first with reflection, taking some time to reflect. And I think this is where we're gonna spend the majority of the time. Because, like I already mentioned, many times we are just creating goals with the new year in mind and saying, bye 2022, thank you for what you did, and looking ahead, instead of reflecting on the year that you just had and making goals according to that. When you take some time and pause and are able to reflect, you can really think about what goals you didn't achieve and why that might have been. If we don't, we are more likely to roll over goals and then they they just don't have the impact they have to keep us motivated throughout the year. Our first reflection prompts are going to be reflecting on the past. So what are some things in 2022 that you're like, oh, that was great, I could do more of that? What are some of those things that you could do less of? Now you're going to take a look at the goals you achieved. Write down like why you think you achieved them. What about that goal made it special and possible for you to get to the end and reach that goal? I also want you to do the reverse. Which goals did you not reach? And why do you think you didn't reach it? And really, this is a reflection phase. So really sit with it and journal. Probably a great time to sit on the couch, put a candle on, and really just write out how you're feeling. For example, that you are saving for a down payment and you didn't achieve that goal. If you don't really reflect on it, you could just be like, well, I didn't achieve it because I didn't make more money. But go a level deeper to that. Like, what about you not being able to save for a down payment? What other things came up that maybe you prioritized? When I did this exercise, I realized like I prioritized travel instead of a down payment because I didn't want to settle in the suburbs just yet. I wasn't ready for that. Take some time and don't just like speed through the reflection portion. The last prompt that I want you to ask yourself is, how do you feel? How do you feel about 2022? Right now, I've been seeing all the trends of the Instagram reels, the TikToks of like, thank you 2022, and it's a highlight reel, like quite literally a highlight reel of all the great things that happened in 2022. Or, I mean, some people have been showing more honest moments where they're vulnerable, but I want you to not just think about the great things, but think about overall, how do you feel towards 2022 and the things that you were able to achieve, the things that you weren't able to achieve, and just where you are now. How does that feel to you? Now we're going to shift to reflecting on December 2023, or a year from now. First, who are you? How do you feel like you have grown in the last year? How do you feel like you have changed, improved? All keeping in mind that like, it's okay to like just not always be trying to improve. But like, what do you like feel? How does December 2023 feel? What are you most proud of? Because we do want to have moments of the year that we feel proud of ourselves, of what we were able to accomplish. Now, we're also going to continue to reflect on the future, but this time we're going to look at us in 10 years. So it's 2022, 10 years from now is 2032. Ask yourself those same questions. Who are you? Where are you? What's different about you? What's the same about you? And what is a change or thing you were able to accomplish that you are extremely proud of? And I say 10 years because there's a quote by Bill Gates that says that people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And I have been very, very guilty of doing that. I set myself ambitious goals every year, and most of the time I'm not able to achieve half of them because I haven't had a second to reflect on what I really want. And when you don't reflect on your life, 12 months past or 5 years ago, you're not really able to understand if you want to be changing the direction in which your life is going. So I think when we're able to think about us 10 years from now, it's more likely that we're like, yeah, well, I definitely do not want to be doing this job, or I definitely do not want to be living here. Whereas like if we look a year into it, we're like thinking more short term, right? Like all these goals, it's like, yeah, I'm going to move out from here. But it's like, how can we think about the big impacts that we will have on our life in 10 years versus 1 year? We also want to make sure that all those 1 year goals till we hit that 10 year are all kind of working towards that larger vision that you have for yourself instead of just living year by year. All right, step 2, visualize it. This is the fun part. This is the fun part. We get to, one, create a vision board, but before you do that, before you even cut out things, I want you just to like close your eyes. We're really gonna, breathe in, breathe out, do what you gotta do, but we're really gonna sit with our eyes closed and just like visualize where we are December 2023. Whatever comes to mind, whatever pictures, however you see the visualization of yourself a year from now. What is that? Who are you? What are you doing? What are you proud of? What's coming up? Just close your eyes, right? You don't need the magazines, you don't need the Canva just yet. You just need to have the ability to do nothing but close your eyes and see and think about the things that you want in your future. And then once you're able to do that, you can go get your cutouts, start creating a vision board for what you saw when you closed your eyes, for the things that you want. And I encourage you not to think about your vision board as like vision board for 2023, but instead like your vision board for the next 10 years, the vision board for your life, because you don't want to limit yourself to the vision you just have of yourself in the next year. If we did that, we could be thinking about things in a way that doesn't allow us to reach for greater heights. Think about the long-term vision that you have for your life, not just the things you want to do next year. And once you're done with that vision board, put it somewhere you're going to see it all the time. Put it by your desk, put it by the fridge, wherever it's going to have your eyes at least once a day, like at least just to like look over it. Because the more we see what we want, it's a reminder. It's a reminder of what we're working towards. After you have created your vision board, you've visualized the things that you want, write them down. Write them down. Write them down. These are your goals that you're writing. And next to your goal, so let's say you wrote down 5 different goals. Next to these 5 different goals should be a why. Say for a down payment, get a dog, get a raise, read 50 books, like whatever your goals may be, put a why behind it. Why do you want to save for a down payment? Why do you want to read 50 books? Why do you want to get a raise? Because when we don't put a why behind a goal, we don't remember or think about what it is that I'm putting in the effort. I'm waking up earlier than normal. I am, in the moments when you need that, like, motivation, you need to understand why you're doing it. And it needs to be deeper than because my mom told me I should do it. It needs to be deeper than because I saw my best friend did it last year and I want to do it this year. Like, it's gotta be deeper than that. And that's why we put whys behind our goals, or else they just become a list of things we just want to check off, not something that we really think impacts our life. So let's say you have 5 goals, 10 goals, however many number of goals that you wrote down. Does that number of goals seem like a realistic number for you to move forward with in the new year? Are you overwhelming yourself with goals that it's just gonna be like hard to keep up with all of them? Because if you have one goal that is like, save the most I've ever saved, and then the next goal is travel for 6 months or whatnot, unless you're traveling for work or traveling while making money, those 2 goals could be contradicting themselves. So take a look at the goals, see which ones speak to you the most, and circle the ones you're gonna move forward with. However many goals that make sense for you, it could be 2 really big ones, it could be 5 like normal size goals, it could be 10 smaller ones. Whatever it is, whatever number you decide that is manageable for you, decide what those goals are gonna be. Once you've decided that, look at those goals and say, if I don't achieve anything else in the new year, am I gonna be happy that I reached these goals and these goals only? If the answer is no, then you're gonna need to go back to that list and circle new ones. If still it's not moving you, then you need to go back to number 1 and create new goals, because those aren't gonna be the ones that you like really wanna stay inspired and motivated to accomplish by the end of the year. Make sure you have that list that you are like, if nothing else but this gets achieved, then I am gonna be satisfied. And now you're gonna move on to creating your action items, because like I said, manifestation, writing down a goal without an action plan to achieve that goal is just a wish. You are just wishing to do this thing without putting in the work to do it. That's not gonna be a successful way to achieve your goals. For every goal that you decided, you wanna have one action item. And your action items can serve as like along the way tracking for your monthly goals. So like this action item can be something that you're tracking on a monthly basis, and you use that to kind of fit into this larger goal that you have. So what are the action items you're taking to save $10,000 for a down payment? Write that down. What does that look like? Maybe the first half you save more than half of it so that the second half you can spend a little more. Whatever it is that you decide, you need an action item for how you're gonna reach that goal. Along with action items being kind of like a monthly goal that you set for yourself, and it helps you break it down a little further for how it's going to be realistic for you to achieve it. These action items do also serve as accountability. Bonus points if you actually have someone that you can let know about this goal. And it doesn't have to be the whole world, but if even just like one person you know has goals that they also want to achieve and you have goals, maybe you keep each other accountable and promise to do monthly check-ins. The fifth and last thing you want to do in preparation for creating these 2023 goals is identify what things can come in the way of this goal. Obstacles happen. We can't predict what's gonna happen. We just can't. But there are some things that we can maybe prepare for. If we know that August is a very busy spending month historically for you. You have a goal of saving $1,000 each month, and you know like August already is gonna be like a tough one for you to do it. Then how can you prepare now for August? Can you maybe say, all right, I'm gonna save less in August. This means that in April and May, you're gonna go all out on this goal. You're gonna save a little more just to get ahead of August. So it's not about avoiding obstacles. We can't avoid things because life happens when life happens. We can't predict what's gonna happen. But it's about getting ahead of maybe some of the obstacles that you could think could happen, right? It's not to prepare for all of it, but it's to prepare for the things that you can expect and anticipate. That's kind of how I'm approaching my goal creation in 2023. I am still figuring out what those goals are gonna look like. I already have a few that I'm like, definitely wanna do this in 2023. But I haven't finalized anything. If you are interested in kind of following me along and seeing what I end up, making my 2023 goals, then be sure to follow me on Instagram. I wanna hear what your 2023 goals are. Put them in the comments, let me know. Let's cheer each other on. Let's go into this new year with a reflection on the year previous and a reflection of like who we want to be and what we want to have differently or the same in the new year, right? And let's do it from a place of kindness for ourselves, and also doing it for us, right? Like these goals shouldn't be for anybody but you. So happy goal setting, happy new year. I will see you in 2023.